Hey, it's Brian Bennett. I'm a life and leadership coach along with being a pastor. I'm excited to talk with you in this video about new breakthrough performance. In other words, hitting that next level of performance, because all of us at some point or another are experiencing the status quo, the cycle of the status quo, and eventually the status quo hits a wall, a ceiling that we can't get past. And that ceiling may be even a high level of performance or growth or success, and however you define success in every good sense of the word success. But at some point, we hit the limit. We hit our potential, or our limit could be low performance. It could be stuck in a discouraging way. We look around our life and we're not very satisfied with what we see. We look at our team and our team's in shambles. We look at our organization and our organization isn't functioning at a high level. So regardless of where our ceiling is, it could be high, we could be a high performer, or we could be a low performer, but all of us eventually experience the status quo in a way that holds us back because we get into the rut of the status quo. Many times the status quo is just a reality that we hit this new level, this breakthrough performance. We reach this new level as an individual, as a team, as an organization. But eventually, it's just the way life happens is we get into that next level and we just start functioning at that level. And that's good except for when we hit the wall, when we hit the ceiling of how far that we're going. And when that ceiling is an issue in our life. It's an issue in our friendship, in our relationship, in a marriage. It's an issue in our work, in our neighborhood. It's an issue in our own values and goals and our life vision that we have. So in this video, I want to share a few things that help us think through how do we find breakthrough to get from the current status quo to the next level of performance. And finding that isn't always easy. I just want to say that it's a journey many times. It's not as simple, let's sit down for 2 hours and figure it out. That's helpful. That's the next step. But many times there's another step and another step and another step that we don't even fully see. But I want to share 5 things with you that can help us think about how do we move from the cycle of the status quo to that next level of breakthrough, no matter what level our ceiling is at, if it's high or it's low, so that we can experience new breakthrough performance in our life. And the first thing that helps us to have an experience or a moment or an insight that overcomes the status quo and hits that next level is our passion. And that might surprise you that I lead off with that, but think about when you've been very passionate in your life. And think about how that passion drives you, how that passion enables you to be hungry, how that passion enables your commitment level, enables you to persevere and have grit and determination and to go after solutions, to not just see the problems and get passive, but when you are passionate as a leader or just as a human being, as a follower of Jesus in your life, you go for it. You go for it in different ways. And so passion is the first thing as we think about how do we get breakthrough? How do we experience breakthrough individually on our team or as an organization? Passion is key to that. And so that means that we have to be refueling our passion constantly, to be listening and reading and eating and sleeping and hydrating and getting around others that inspire and refuel our passion, scheduling in those things into our calendar that enable our passion to exist at a high level, because highly passionate people find breakthroughs. Those who want it and who aren't going to give up until they find it, those are the ones who experience high levels of breakthroughs individually, as a team and organization. The second thing is we think about moving from the status quo to new breakthrough performance is shifting our paradigms. All of us have a paradigm that keeps us in the current status quo, or at least keeps us there. It helps maintain the status quo. And here's the challenge. Some of the paradigms we have are helpful in that they got us from where we were to where we are. But they're not going to take us from where we are to where we're going. So even though it's been helpful taking us from where we were to where we are, it's not going to be a paradigm that's going to take us into the future. Many times we see this with time management. What was a helpful shift with time management to kind of get us to that next level of performance, now we're going to have to make another time management, energy management shift to reach our next level of performance. And so if we keep trying to do the same level and techniques of time management that we did, that might have got us from where we were, a pain point, to where we are, but they may not be the right time management, energy management techniques that are going to lift us into the future. The same is true of our schedule. whatever what helped us in our schedule and the shifts that we had to make in our schedule to get from where we were to where we are may not help us as an individual, as a team, as an organization. Those schedules may not take us into the future. And so it's key for us to think about what are the key paradigms right now. Take stock of the presence. What are the paradigms that I'm operating in every single day? An example might be that I'm the one who needs to do blank, fill in the blank on your team. I'm the one who needs to do this. And by doing this, I actually might be holding myself back and holding the team back. And if I delegate that and empower somebody else who's more gifted and able to do that, it might actually help the team and help me as a team leader or a team member to function at a higher level of performance. Delegation could be one of those key things that helps us function at a higher level of performance. Working smarter, not harder. Not just burning the candle constantly. That was a big paradigm shift for me at one point, was don't just burn the candle and do it all. Is work smarter. Be more disciplined. Be more intentional and purposeful by inviting others in and engaging them in their gifts and strengths. What are the other paradigms that might be a breakthrough? And teach a lot about servant leadership and coaching. And that's one of the, especially in group coaching sessions. For us to shift our paradigm from everyone is here to serve me to I'm here to lift others up and serve them. My goal is that they would be better off because of my presence in their life versus that they're here to serve me and make my life easy. That's a big paradigm shift. Another simple paradigm shift is I'm here to give versus I'm here to take from the people around me. When we make that shift of I'm here in their presence to give to them, to empower them, to encourage them, to strengthen them, to build them up in some way, to lift them up in some way, versus I'm here to take what I can from them. That's a paradigm shift that can definitely hold us back. But there's all kinds of paradigm shifts along the way. And there's paradigm shifts in technology. Think about some of the jumps that we've had in technology about how things are going to operate and the paradigms that people were focused in on, and then the shifts. There's paradigm shifts in how we fuel our body every single day. Some of us might not be fueling our body, and so we're in this status quo cycle and we don't have the energy to get out of it. And so we've got to fuel our body, and that's going to be one of the things that helps us reach our next level of performance. What are the paradigm shifts you have? And are those paradigm shifts going to lead you into the future vision that you have? The third thing to get next level breakthrough performance is to think about potential. As we think about overcoming the status quo, the cycle, the status quo, is we have to believe in our potential to grow and develop. And as I would come at this from a Christian worldview, as an image bearer of God, we have the potential to grow and develop and to blossom into the fullness of who we are in Jesus Christ as we are empowered by His Spirit. We've all been gifted with gifts. Whether we're a follower of Jesus or not, we're image bearers. But as we put our faith in Jesus, we're now receiving the Holy Spirit, we're covered in the blood of Christ, and now we're empowered into the fullness of what God has for us. Doesn't mean it's going to come easy. Doesn't mean we're going to reach it this side of God's full restoration. But to believe in the potential, we have to actually believe that we can grow. We have to actually believe that we can change our behavior and our attitude and our heart in our marriage. We actually have to believe that we can be a more engaged or present wife or father or husband, that we can overcome the tension with a coworker, or that the challenges that we face with this issue or this organization or this team or this ministry, that they are not a permanent ending to our story, but that there's a new level of breakthrough that we can overcome, that the decline in attendance or that the decline in giving or the decline in whatever doesn't have the final word, but there's actually, we have to believe in the potential. And that really, as we think about faith and we think about hope in the future, what we're believing in is that God is going to do what He's promised to do into the future. And that means as we look forward, we're thinking about the potential. We're thinking about what is God going to do. And that anchors us in a way to live in the present. That anchors us to live in the challenge and the opportunity of the day. So we have to be reminded of the potential of our team. We have to believe that our team can function at a higher level. If we don't, then we might as well, we've already thrown in the towel. We actually have to believe that our organization can reach a new level of performance, can accomplish its mission in a greater way, that the culture of our organization can shift, and that we have to be able to envision what would it look like, what would it feel like if this culture was healthy again, what would it look like if we were making a radical impact in our community, in the lives of the vulnerable or the oppressed, or what would it look like for us to be part of the solution that ends sex trafficking. We have to believe in in the potential to accomplish those things for us to have breakthrough. Otherwise, when we lack that belief, we're going to stay stuck in the cycle of the status quo. We're just going to sit here and we'll keep cycling and cycling and cycling because we believe where we've gotten to where we've gotten. We don't believe we can go forward. Many times, and this is another encouragement but also a challenge, is that we see the potential of a new breakthrough. We're on the other side of it, and then the status quo comes. We think, man, I've come so far. I just don't believe God can take me farther. I've tried so hard and I've gotten some growth here, but I just don't see it and believe that it's going to continue to go forward. I just don't believe in my marriage that I can keep going. I just don't believe in this friendship, or I just don't believe in my neighborhood or this issue in our community that I can keep going. And even though God's taken us so far, we fall into this thing of the status quo and believe, okay, he can't take me farther. He's taking me to the max of what he can do. And so we set that limit once again, that limit, that wall that holds us back from the potential of what God has for us. So we have to think about passion, think about the paradigm shifts that we need to make. We have to think about, are we believing? How strong do we believe in the future vision and we see it, and are we committed to it? The fourth thing is perspective. When we think about experiencing these types of breakthroughs that lead us from this level to that level, getting perspective is helpful in seeing our environment, ourselves, our team, our organization, our challenges in a fresh way. Getting perspective might come through reading something or listening to something. It might come from a day away of reflecting. It might come from going to another business organization, one of our friends, and just watching them work, or another ministry organization and watching them and just rubbing shoulders with them. It might come from a conference, just attending and getting into a space where we can be creative and believe and hear some encouragement and to do some shop talk with other leaders. Getting perspective could come through a simple phone call to a friend who's in the same field that we're in, and just asking them some questions about what they're doing and the challenges that they're facing and how they addressing those challenges. What perspective does is it pulls out and gets that bird's eye view. Because so many times when we're in the trenches day in and day out, we get dialed into that view and we get locked in and we get these blinders on, and all we can see is the issues. All we can see is the struggle. All we can see is the failure. And we stop seeing solutions if we don't regularly have a rhythm of pulling back and getting that perspective for our teams, for ourselves, and for our organizations. And so we've got to have that rhythm, that habit of getting perspective, and it can come in a lot of ways, but we must make sure we're constantly getting perspective. The fifth thing, as we think about experiencing breakthrough in our life and in organizations, is partnership. And by that, I just simply mean collaborating with a team, collaborating with other individuals. But as you look at your team, there are all kinds of experiences that have been gifted to your team, things that people have experienced in life, knowledge that individuals on the team have. And the more that you can draw that out of them, the more that you can coax that out of them and create an environment where there's a freedom and where there's an energy and a momentum towards thinking, problem solving, seeing solutions, attacking issues together, the more that you can get the energy of the team aimed at this next level performance, the more that you're going to get that synergy that comes through sustained collaboration. In other words, working together, appreciating the differences, appreciating others' perspectives, and staying in it together until a breakthrough solution that fits your environment and fits your context emerges. And that can be some hard, dirty work. I'm a certified strategic planner, and we have a 3-day plan, an initial 3-day plan, followed by a 2-day and a 1-day. So that's deep, hard work. But by doing that deep, hard work, eventually the partnership in the room together cultivates these breakthrough avenues where what seemed like, a lose-lose, now all of a sudden you can see a win. Now all of a sudden you can see a way forward where you couldn't see it before. That might mean for you, if you're just individual and you're thinking about this paradigm from an individual perspective, you're thinking about a goal you have in your life, that might mean partnering with a friend or a coach, a life coach or a leadership coach who's going to help walk beside you and hold you accountable and support you and encourage you along the way so that you can experience and brainstorm with you so that you can experience that next level of breakthrough performance. Status quo keeps itself going, and at some point we bump up against the ceiling. When we bump up against the ceiling to experience these breakthrough channels, that next level of performance, we've got to think about passion, paradigms, potential, perspective, and partnership. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love the dialogue with you about the issues you're facing, the challenges you're feeling, the breakthrough solutions that you've experienced and seen, whether it's on an individual level, a team level, or an organizational level. Reach out to me at multiplyingleaders@gmail.com.